Look beyond the surface. Trust what lies beneath. Imagine this. You just pressed a button and killed your entire family. Yes, they were clones possessed by evil spirits. But in that moment, the terror you felt, the collapse, that was real. Now tell me, would you still want to go on adventures? This is the choice facing 14-year-old Morty, and his grandfather Rick, this genius scientist, offers him a deal, a bet. This time, Morty gets to plan the adventure. If he succeeds, he'll get to lead 1 out of every 10 adventures going forward. But if he fails, he has to shut up for a month. No complaints about anything. Sounds fair, right? But in Rick's universe, simple and safe are never the same thing. Welcome to the Archives, Accomplices. I'm Detective H. This is my partner River. Today, we're cracking open a case file from Rick and Morty, Season 1, Episode 5, Me Seeks and Destroy. A story about blue creatures, golf, and a jelly bean. But trust me, what lies beneath the surface is far darker than you could ever imagine. Let's crack the file. If you look closely at this blue creature's eyes, you'll find no joy there, only desperation. Mr. Meeseeks, a being summoned to complete tasks. Press a button on the box. It appears helps you solve your problem, then vanishes. Sounds like the perfect solution, right? Rick leaves this box with his family to handle mundane tasks while he and Morty go adventuring. Summer wants to be popular at school? No problem. Meeseeks delivers a speech, successfully brainwashes the entire student body and faculty, makes everyone desperate to be her friend. Task complete. Poof. Gone. Beth wants to be a more complete woman? Meeseeks takes her to a romantic cafe, patiently listens to her troubles. Then cuts straight to the heart. Maybe the problem isn't that you're incomplete. Maybe it's that the person beside you isn't worth loving anymore. Beth has an epiphany. Tears fall. Task complete. Meeseeks vanishes again. But Jerry chooses what seems like the simplest task. Take 2 strokes off his golf game. 2 strokes. Just 2. For a being designed to be a universal helper, this should be effortless. But the reality is, Jerry is impossibly inept. Meeseeks provides world-class instruction, constant encouragement, adjusts his posture, analyzes his swing, but Jerry's score doesn't improve. In fact, it gets worse. And that's when the first Meeseeks begins to suffer, because its law of existence has only one rule: complete the task, then disappear. Existence is pain, disappearance is release. But now, the task cannot be completed. It cannot disappear. So, it makes a decision. It summons another Meeseeks to help. Then that Meeseeks summons another, then another, and another. Soon the entire room is packed with blue figures. They multiply. But Jerry's score plummets. And Jerry? He gets impatient, drops his club, goes out to dinner with Beth. Leaving behind a room full of Meeseeks, trapped in the agony of existence, they begin blaming each other, fighting, descending into an existential nightmare. Finally, the oldest Meeseeks has a terrible epiphany. If we can never make Jerry take 2 strokes off his game, then we eliminate the person who asked the question. Kill Jerry? He can't take any strokes, all strokes disappear, mission accomplished. Perfect logic, right? A massive horde of Meeseeks storms into the restaurant. They take hostages. They force Jerry to come out. Beth and Jerry hide in the walk-in freezer. The Meeseeks grab a hostage to pressure Jerry. And in this critical moment, Beth does something. She looks into Jerry's eyes and says, "I believe you can do this." That's it. Not technical guidance, not tactical analysis. Just one simple statement of trust. Jerry bursts through the door. Meeseeks coaches him in real time. He uses a steel pipe as a club, a tomato as a golf ball, and with his wife's encouragement, he makes a beautiful hole in one. All the Meeseeks cheer. They vanish. The last one stays to verify whether Jerry truly improved, and discovers that yes, his short-distance putting actually got better. Not because his technique improved, but because Beth's love and trust gave him confidence. That was the real breakthrough. What does this story tell us? When you can't solve a problem, besides admitting failure, you can always try to eliminate the person asking the question. Just kidding. Shift your attention back to Morty's mission, and you'll realize that sometimes the most dangerous thing isn't a complex adventure. It's the one you think is simple. Morty chooses a traditional fantasy adventure, a medieval-style impoverished village, a giant world in the clouds, a rob the rich, feed the poor quest. Sounds like a fairy tale, right? Safe, fun, heroic. They climb a massive beanstalk and arrive at the world where giants live. Rick mocks Morty the entire way for how boring this adventure is. Suddenly, a giant appears. They hide behind a jar. And then the giant slips, his head strikes the ground, and he dies instantly. Just like that. No epic battle, no clash of wits, one accident. And they go from heroes to murderers. The giant's wife reports them to the police. Grandfather and grandson get arrested, thrown in jail, put on trial. Rick keeps mocking Morty, great adventure. We're about to end up in giant prison. But then, a twist. A righteous attorney points out that Rick and Morty are not giants, different species. They shouldn't be prosecuted under giant law. They were never read their giant rights. This violates their civil liberties. The court cannot refute this legal loophole. Grandfather and grandson are acquitted. Sounds like victory? Not so fast. The journey back is tens of thousands of stairs. Rick keeps urging Morty to give up so they can use the portal gun and go straight home. But Morty is determined to win the bet. They begin the long climb. After climbing for ages, Morty discovers a small tavern in the middle of the staircase. They go inside to rest. Rick shows zero interest in anything here. Finally, Morty explodes. Slams the table. I've put up with so much nonsense on your adventures. Can't you just tolerate this for once? If you can't figure it out, just go home without me. And then, Morty goes to the bathroom. This is the turning point. In the bathroom, Morty meets what seems like a friendly, anthropomorphic jellybean. At first, he seems kind and gentle, offering comfort to the dejected Morty. But suddenly, everything changes. Mr. Jellybean begins touching Morty inappropriately, tries to rape him, keeps saying disgusting words of comfort, licks Morty's face. Morty fights back desperately. In an adrenaline surge, he explodes, repeatedly smashing the Jellybean's head with a toilet seat, leaving him severely injured before escaping. Morty is trembling all over, tears streaming down his face. Panicked, he runs back to Rick, begging his grandfather to take him home. He gives up. He doesn't want anything anymore. He just wants to leave this place. Rick sees Morty's condition. Then he sees the battered, bruised Jellybean emerge from the bathroom, and he understands immediately what happened. If you look carefully at Rick's expression in this moment, you won't find mockery, no sarcasm, just one rare emotion, rage. But Rick doesn't directly ask Morty what happened. He knows that some traumas don't need to be brought up repeatedly. Some wounds need to be handled with dignity. So, he pretends to be oblivious and says, I just won a bunch of money gambling. We can hire that lizard to carry us down, then give the rest of the money to the villagers. Adventure complete. Morty accepts gratefully. They return to the village and distribute the gold coins to the villagers. The villagers cheer. Two blonde women even kiss Rick and Morty. The atmosphere is jubilant. Until the villagers bring their king out to thank them personally. That king is Mr. Jellybean. Morty and Rick quickly escape through a portal. But just as the portal is closing, Rick reaches back. With his laser gun, he precisely shoots and kills King Jellybean. No dialogue, no explanation. He doesn't even let Morty see it. This is one of Rick's rare ways of showing love. He won't say, I love you. He won't give you a hug. But he will take revenge for you where you can't see. This is Rick. Hard exterior, soft heart, cold yet tender. But the story isn't over. In the post-credit scene, after King Jellybean's death, the villagers find a box among his belongings. A servant opens it. The contents make him nearly vomit in horror. The mayor sees it and says, wait, burn it. The value our people derive from what he represented is far more important than who this Jellybean actually was. They choose to cover up the truth, to preserve the king's image, to maintain the people's faith in their nation. This is the darkest part, not the Jellybean's crimes, but people's selective blindness, not the existence of evil, but the protection of evil. Let's return to the original question. What is a simple adventure? Summer and Beth made complex requests. Be popular, be a more complete woman. Easily accomplished. Jerry made what seemed like a simple request. Take 2 strokes off his golf game. It triggered an existential catastrophe. Morty planned a traditional fantasy adventure. It ended with the trauma of a lifetime. The problem was never the complexity of the task. It was always us. The Meeseeks couldn't admit they were powerless, so they tried to eliminate the person asking the question. The villagers couldn't face the ugly truth about their idol, so they chose to cover up the crimes. Jerry couldn't become stronger on his own. He could only rely on his wife's trust. Morty thought he could plan a safe adventure, only to discover that in this universe, safety never existed. And Rick, he won the bet. But he chose to let go of winning and help Morty complete the adventure. He didn't lecture. He didn't mock. He just pulled the trigger through the closing portal for his grandson. This is true transcendence. Not clinging to victory, but knowing when to let go and when to strike. So the next time you think this little thing, I can definitely handle it. Remember today's Jerry and the Meeseeks. Maybe the problem isn't that the task is too hard. Maybe it's that you refuse to face your own incompetence. The next time you see a shining idol, remember King Jellybean. What lies beneath the surface might be far darker than you could ever imagine. The truth is out. Good work, accomplice. Leave a like as my commission, and subscribe so we can crack the next case together. Remember, look beyond the surface. Case closed.
Did you get any of that?
It's a good show.